Hello and welcome back to the Pretty Little Podcast. We're your hosts.
My name is Phoebe.
And my name is Caroline. And who freaking knows what we're going to be yapping about today? Not me.
No.
I mean, I know
either.
a little bit. And guys, this is what we need to start kind of workshopping, and you always have great ideas. So let us know, how should we be opening these episodes now that we don't have like a specific episode to recap?
Well, I think this was fine. Think about the podcasts that they just talk. They don't really have like we're going to talk about this today.
Well, the pop apologists do, and it's kind of nice. They have like a little, like it's a little bit of like a smattering, it's like an appetizer platter that has like a few, you know, the sampler. And they kind of say, okay, and it sounds like they go record it after they recorded the episode, and they're like, oh, we're talking about a little bit of this today. Because what if people don't stay tuned?
That just doesn't feel like us.
Yeah, I know, but we gotta find something.
Because I mean, we just like, we're not as, they are like an organized podcast.
How dare you? Literally, how dare you?
No, but you know what I mean? Like they roll in there with like their iPad with like a second by second agenda of what they're going to talk about, I feel like.
And I don't.
Well, we're kind of just like,
well, actually,
we're kind of
recall,
like the
Phoebe,
worm. We're like the worm in Jenny Slate's brain. That's just like.
Speaking of Jenny Slate, I saw It Ends With Us last night. Did you see it yet?
No, because I ended up spending so much money this weekend.
Wow, so what were you doing?
I had to not see it. Well, I went to the Cheesecake Factory.
What'd you get?
Automatically, you like have to sell your car to go.
Yeah.
I always get the 4-cheese pasta.
How was
it? Delicious.
What?
Do you want to hear something actually so miserable? I
Sure.
sit down. She's like, okay, what can I get everybody to drink? And I say, I would love a Diet Coke.
Because the Cheesecake Factory Diet Coke is elite. The packaging, it is like a mug, but it isn't. It's got the shape of one of those big root beer mugs, but it doesn't have a handle. Stein.
Well, some of them do. I've had one with a handle before.
Wow. Okay.
For sure. But
oh my God.
She goes, oh, actually, our soda machines are down.
You said there should have been a sign on the door when I walked in the restaurant. The hostess should have let me know that before I put my name in. Well, because I know you had to put your name in.
Well, no, we didn't. You want to know why?
Why?
I did something crazy before we went to the Cheesecake Factory.
You did not make a reservation for the Cheesecake Factory.
I made a reservation.
Holy, what time?
I made a reservation, 7:15.
That's a good time. That's worth. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me.
It was perfect. Oh my God, we didn't have to wait a second.
Did you feel like you were VIP, like you were
Well, you want to hear something? This was kind of like...
I love how you keep going, well, do you want to hear something? Yes, well, Phoebe, I want to hear all of the things.
You know the saying that's man plans and God laughs?
Sure, yeah.
That's kind of like what this was. I planned because I knew if we were going at 7 p.m., surely there would be a line in the door, standing room only in the lobby.
Absolutely.
And we get there and it's kind of, that's not the situation. Actually,
I think that ironic?
There were like a couple people waiting, but I do think if I had walked in there, we probably would have had like a 10-minute wait. But I'm probably never going to not make a reservation again, because how nice was it knowing, and I got a parking spot. I don't know if anybody that listens other than my friends live in Nashville.
I think some do.
Well, you guys know the Green Hills Mall parking lot is absolutely terrible. And you can never park. Like, there's like two sections. You've been to the Green Hills Mall before.
Yeah.
There's like a section by Noodles and Company, which is normally where my friends and I park. But I decided to take a risk and start driving around. Oh my God. We got a parking spot so close to Cheesecake Factory. I was like, this is a perfect night.
Guys, I am actually envisioning Phoebe right now. And it's crazy because this picture I have in my head is like a hybrid of her and my dad in one, and really a strange looking figure if you ask me. But I'm just picturing this as for Phoebe. Okay. Phoebe is like doing her thing in her apartment solo, has her routine going on, drinking a little iced Americano that she's had all day. She's been nursing it all day. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to make a reservation. So she's really feeling so good about herself. Calls Cheesecake Factory. She's like, no way I can get in at 7:15 to the hottest club in Nashville, Tennessee. She can't believe her ears. But she's like, that's what happens when you're a planner like me, when you're a type A biatch like me. And she immediately texts the friends that she's going with. And she's like, guys, don't worry about it. It's taken care of as far as the reservation. We're all paying for ourselves, okay? But reservation taken care of. They're like, oh my God, Phoebe, you're the best. Phoebe's like, I'll drive. They're like, oh my God, we love an Uber. Phoebe picks them up. She drives in and she's like, no. And takes, as she said, a massive risk. Because if there hadn't been a spot up there, you just wasted everyone and potentially caused you to be late to your reservation. You're lucky. There's a spot. Phoebe's feeling at this point, it's like
walking on air.
She is walking on air. That's what she is doing. I can literally just see like the smirk. Like she has a little pep in her step. Not seen before that day. Okay. And then she goes in and she gets the high. Well, it's a little bit like of a muted high because there weren't as many people.
Do you want to see a GIF? This is what.
Of what?
The people that I went
with. You walking in?
Well, no. They in the group chat they sent this after, because actually, let me kind of pull the curtain back. I did have the idea of making a reservation during the day, but I didn't make the reservation until I was seated at the tavern on Thursday, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna pull the trigger.
You didn't have to get on the horn, did you?
No, because if you have an account, you can do it all online.
And who doesn't have an account for the Cheesecake Factory, guys?
Exactly. And my friend sent this GIF and said, us walking in tomorrow to the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, are you Gru?
I'm Gru and my friends are the ones opening the big ass Cheesecake Factory doors.
Why are they so heavy? They're like, you can come in, little girl, and have your cheesecake if you can pay the toll. But first, a test.
Exactly.
You have to earn it.
So yes, I went to the Cheesecake Factory, but so I got back to Nashville on Sunday, but at like evening time, I didn't have time to go grocery shopping on Sunday. So all I ate this week essentially was Goodles. I don't know if you're familiar with Goodles.
What is Goodles?
Boxed mac and cheese, but they're like so good. They're so good. And they're like,
I've never heard of this.
They're protein noodles.
Oh my God.
They're guys, they're so good and worth it. Oh my God, they're delicious.
Well, Phoebe, you know what? Maybe I'll have
They have so many flavors. They have a Casio, a Pepe flavor.
Nice. Okay, cool. Is it Cacio or Casio? I'm asking. I'm not correcting. I'm asking.
Well, you're asking the wrong girl, and you know that.
Well, I didn't know because you said it with such confidence that I was like, she must like have just looked up the pronunciation.
Okay.
No,
it's just called dress for the job you want.
Yeah.
Not the job you have.
Right. Exactly.
So I did that, but that means that I was, by the time I got to, so Wednesday, I was out of Goodles.
Okay.
I was almost out of Goodles.
Oh my God. She writes in her, she's looking through her diary right now, by the way, to make sure she knows what happened every day. And it got to Wednesday and I just watched a tear roll down her cheek and hit the page and it says out of Goodles.
No, but I don't remember why.
Who came up with Goodles?
Good noodles. Anyway.
And people say I'm not creative.
I ordered Party Foul on Wednesday night.
Of course.
Thursday, this is why I ordered them, because I ran out of tuna fish. I had a couple cans of tuna in my cupboard for lunch.
Is anyone else feeling sick to their stomach?
So I was having that. But I knew I was going to the tavern Thursday because Taylor got to judge the talent show at the tavern.
There was a talent show?
Yeah. It was pretty epic.
Tell me about it. Did anyone sing?
Yeah.
Did everyone
We live
sing?
in Nashville.
Okay. What's with the sass? Hey, have you guys noticed like Phoebe's sassometer has been like off the freaking charts the past few episodes? I listen and I'm like, how do I not have more people messaging me like, Caroline, you are such an angel. Like, how do I not get the press that Phoebe gets when Phoebe's mean to me? You know?
Anyway, all this to say, I had to order DoorDash 2 times in the week, which was not ideal financially.
No, never.
But I had also already like booked myself for different things. The Cheesecake Factory, which again is the most expensive meal you can have.
Right.
And then I went to brunch with Taylor and me. Well, it was meant to be brunch. We didn't end up going until about 2:30. But and I went grocery shopping and I got gas.
Ooh.
And I got a car wash.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Phoebe, that sounds frivolous.
Well, no, I put my groceries back in the car and I closed the trunk and I was like,
Wow.
This
You know
looks
what?
bad.
Then it must have been really bad. Because if Phoebe, unprompted by any external factors, went and got a car wash, then it
I've
must
needed
have been
to get
that
one
like
for a long time.
she could no longer scrape off enough of like a viewfinder like square in the windshield to see. She's like, I guess I gotta bring in the professionals.
No, it wasn't like that. But it hasn't rained in Nashville in like 15 days.
Oh my
Yesterday,
God,
last
that's horrible.
This is actually, I put this on the note to talk about because I got a car wash. I've needed to get a car wash since the pollen happened, but it's been raining enough that I haven't.
Yeah.
It's like washed the pollen off fine enough that the car doesn't look bad. But because it hasn't rained, and there's like gravel where I park, so like the dust kicks up. So I finally got one. I was like, it's not supposed to rain for another like fucking however many days. It should be fine. Guess what happened last night?
It rained.
Mm-hmm.
That's Phoebe. You are Alanis Morissette minutes before she wrote "Ironic."
I
today,
know.
That's multiple things now. Making a reservation, but no line at the Cheesecake Factory. Getting a car wash because it hasn't rained in 15 days and it rains. You are so, isn't it ironic?
Yeah.
It's like rain when you just got a car wash.
So once again, all that to say, I didn't have the funds. I needed to be financially responsible and not go see a movie this weekend.
Well,
because next weekend, Mimi's best friend is coming.
It's like never ending, isn't it?
It's gonna be a long
Isn't it
weekend.
crazy how you just look at like your calendar and you're like, okay, so the money I have to spend this weekend, it's just like never ending. It's just never ending.
And I'm like, and I have to keep myself alive.
Well, that's the hardest part. Is like you can't just it's
not just
lot.
the fun stuff.
It sure is a lot. Well, I did see It Ends With Us last night, and I actually went alone. Let me tell you a little bit about my night, okay? So Anthony and I took the dogs to the dog park. It was so fun, so cute. Drama was petrified when we first walked in because Drama's like right on the verge.
That video of Drama was
so cute.
Him realizing that the little girl was playing more with the other dog, but him not really caring. And
yeah. And then he just comes
brings
to me.
it right over to you.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay. It was so funny. Like we go in and Drama's right on the verge, so he could kind of go in the little or the big dog one. But obviously we had Chuck with us and he plays with Chuck. And like, so we brought him in the big dog one and there weren't many dogs in there, but Drama was so scared. He like runs in between my legs and is just like waiting there, like looking up at me, like, and wouldn't. And every time I try to walk, he just like goes right back in between my legs. It was so cute. And then Chuck started running around and Drama went and started running with him. And then they ended up having so much fun. And it was like so cute. It was so cute.
Is Chuck more sociable now?
Okay, well, how dare you?
I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean like when he was younger.
Chuck was never not
really
sociable.
He didn't like playing with the dogs.
No, other dogs don't like playing with him.
Oh.
Because he's too big. And it's really sad. Like, Chuck always wants to play. Chuck will go up to all these dogs and what he does is he makes himself low to the ground. You were compartmentalizing because it hurts.
I think I was like
purposely put that.
You know,
I get that. I get it because I have to do that too. Because Chuck is this little sweetie pie,
hard.
but he's just like really big, but he's just gentle giant. But like the other
do you
dogs,
know those videos, the videos on TikTok right now because it's back to school season of these moms like dropping off their kids at school or like taking a video of them in like the breakfast line before they like let them go into school and they're like please be kind to him.
my God.
And it's just like he has like the biggest smile on his face, but it's like, where is he gonna go sit?
I know.
It's like I don't even know him. He could be friends with everyone in the school.
I know, but
in my head I'm like, oh my God.
It's horrible.
I feel responsible for him now.
I get
for
it.
those kids.
I get it. But yeah, so Chuck like Sid used to like playing with Chuck, but now he won't play with Chuck because Chuck is bigger now. And Chuck will make himself as small as he can. Chuck will get down on the ground and he'll gently do like a little tap with his foot to show like, I'm just going to be really nice. And then he'll like lay and like get small. And Drama has helped a little because Drama's like, look, you could just fucking do whatever you want to him. Like it's fine. But dogs love playing with Drama and not with Chuck. So it's it's so sad. Chuck loves playing. But Chuck also is like okay with being a little lone wolf. Like he was playing with the other dogs yesterday in Drama. And then Drama is like running around and Chuck just kind of like finds a spot in the shade and just like sits and watches for a while and then comes back over to me. And it's like, well, Drama is playing with the dog more than me. So I'll be with Mama. It's so cute. Anyway, they were adorable. And then we went to PF Chang's because I was going to a movie and we were like, you know, they've got that great deal, right? The deal that I love. And
is it
probably
gone?
Probably the best part of the deal is the appetizer, the lettuce wraps, because they're so fucking good. And we do the deal and the lettuce wraps just never come. And our chicken, whatever, our food comes, we eat it. We ask for the check and the girl's like, oh my God, did you ever get your lettuce wraps? And we're like, no. And she's like, well, do you want them now? I can just like have them make them now. And I was like, no, like we're good. We're going to a movie. And then she's like, are you sure? Okay, sorry. And then Anthony's like, can you like take them off the bill? She's like, I can't because it's like the deal. So I can't. And we're like, you, okay. So she's like, yeah. So otherwise you won't get the deal. And we're just like, okay, but that's not our fault. That like, you know what I mean? Like,
did you ask about them?
About what? The lettuce wraps?
I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying, did you ask about them at all?
Well, we ordered them.
No, but I mean, like when they didn't come, were you like...
No, because here's what happened. We were sitting at the bar. The bartender was waiting on us. She was all over the place. So the food runners just kept bringing our food and like dropping it and then going to these other like bar tables. And so we didn't even like see the bartender. Like she was not coming over to us at all. So there was no time to ask her. Like we could barely get the check. It was like the worst. It was horrible. It was a bad.
So did Anthony go see a movie by himself and did you go see a movie by yourself?
He didn't want to go see a movie. So he went home and then I went to go see It Ends With Us. And here's what I'm going to say. Number one, I loved Jenny Slate in it. I thought she was it was a perfect little kooky role for her. And I just loved that. Number two, Lily Bloom is Aria Montgomery. Like, I just kept thinking.
I think I could have guessed.
It's so Aria. It's so Aria. Couple other things. I'll be honest. I liked the movie. I actually enjoyed it.
That people. That's what. Me saying I've heard that people have liked it. I saw that Jake Shane liked it.
Yeah, and I was going into it thinking it was gonna be like so bad, like laughable, like whatever, and I liked it. I do have a few like, and I don't know, this is a discussion that if you guys have seen it, let me know what you think. And Phoebe, when you see it, we'll talk about it probably. But it's interesting because it's so nuanced. And I think there are so many different perspectives that could be shared on this subject. And I haven't read the book, but you know, it's tough because like we see all this, you know, obviously trigger warning, it's about domestic violence. And I'm wondering if there's like a part of Colleen Hoover that doesn't want Lily's story to be about domestic violence. Like she wants it to be more than that.
And that's kind of like that Blake quote that we talked about on the Patreon when she talks about how this... Maybe she and Colleen have kind of discussed that part of how, because maybe and again, we're making assumptions. I don't want people to think that I'm like,
no. We're just talking.
Whatever. But like, I feel like maybe Colleen Hoover got to watch her mom experience what she experienced. Mm-hmm. And maybe for her mom's experience, it wasn't something that it wasn't.
But here's the question though, is like, again, I didn't read it. Is Colleen Hoover writing the story? In the story, Lily's mother is beaten by her father. Mm-hmm. So is that supposed to be Colleen Hoover's parents or is Lily supposed to be?
I don't know that either of them are supposed to be them. I think it's just inspired by what Colleen Hoover saw growing up. And maybe again, I'm like just saying different things, but maybe she's like looking at different paths she could have gone down. And since she saw certain things when she was a kid, it could have made her more vulnerable.
Well, let me tell you what
ending up-
happens so that you know. Just like because it will affect what you're saying, I think. So the mom doesn't leave. The dad.
Mhm.
They stay together. And I mean, the dad is like beating the shit out of her. Like it's horrible. And then the dad also beats the quote homeless guy she loses her virginity to. He also beats the
Right.
shit out of him. And
Is that Atlas?
no. Oh, Atlas. Yeah. The homeless. Yeah. So then as an adult, Lily Bloom goes through a similar relationship experience and gets pregnant. These are spoilers. Sorry. Gets pregnant and is like, I have to leave my husband, but I'm pregnant. Like, what do I do? And she asks her mom why she stayed. And her mom says, well, it would have been harder to leave. And, and like, I think that is true for a lot of women who stay.
Yeah.
Is they believe it will be harder to leave. And I kept feeling that watching the movie, like all these things that were happening. And every time Blake Lively would kind of like get away, I was just like, I don't know. I just kept thinking how like it seemed impossible for her to get out of this.
Like when like if it feels like when someone starts to get out of that situation, it feels like a really fragile escape. Like one thing could, like a house of cards, like one thing will make the entire thing fall and you'll be right back where you started and potentially in a worse position than you were before you left.
And so ultimately she does leave him, but she allows him to come see the baby. And like he's still wearing his wedding ring. And she says to him, I want a divorce. And he's like, well, let's not talk about this right now. And she's like, no, I want a divorce. And she says, what would you do if your little girl came to you and said, my boyfriend threw me down the steps, but it's okay. I think we tripped, but I love him. Like, what would you say to her? What would you say if, and like, she just starts like listing all these things that he's done to her. And he's like, I would tell her to never fucking speak. I would tell her to, and she goes, so I want a divorce. And I just think one thing that's like, I love that it ends on this like strong note of Lily Bloom leaving the relationship. And she says to her little girl, it ends with us. And she means the domestic violence. It is that. But I kept feeling like, and maybe this was on purpose is what I'm trying to say. I kept feeling like I hated him, but like, you just see how easy it is for her to get like there was.
I think that was
like,
on purpose.
I do too, but a lot of people are pissed about it.
Interesting. Well, that was part of what Justin, he's spoken a little bit because I think that there was some, I think he maybe was anticipating a bit of the pushback there, but he spoke about like, it's really important because it's easy for us, people that haven't been in a situation of domestic violence like that, in a relationship, in a marriage, to be like, well, how could you let someone treat you like that? But he was like, it was really important to him as he was directing the story and as he was playing Ryle to be like, he wasn't always that person to Lily. Well, to Lily, he was this charismatic, likable guy, and he needed the audience to be able to empathize with why Lily fell in love with him.
What's also interesting, yes, and what's also interesting is so like the first pass through on all these horrible moments, these violent moments, we don't see the whole thing happen. So there is a little bit of, he's telling her she fell. Did she fall?
Which is probably from her perspective.
Right. And like, so then she has like a moment where she kind of comes to terms with all of it and she replays it all and we get to see it. And we see like the 2 seconds we didn't get to see of like the follow through. And we see him at the end and whatever. And it becomes very clear. And it's sort of like her gaining clarity on like what, and it's kind of the excuses we make for these people and whatever. But some things I thought were tricky about it is Jenny Slate plays his sister and she and Lily are best friends and they continue to be best friends. So he is going to continue to be in her life. He will, I believe I don't know how the book ends, but I believe they're kind of insinuating that they'll co-parent this child together.
In the movie?
Yeah.
Whoa. Wait, when we talked about it on the Patreon.
What?
Oh my, this is. Well, when you talked about it on the Patreon, in the research that I did, I was under the impression that the end of the book is that they co-parent.
It's ambiguous at the end of the movie, but
no, but what I'm saying is Justin Baldoni mentioned at one point that he had like two endings, and maybe this is why which cuts were
the
used
Blake
and
or
what was
him, yeah.
different maybe. But he said that he was uncomfortable with that ending, and so he made one ending where it was like we saw this conversation between Lily and Ryle as they're handing Dory off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, so it's,
oh my God. Also, the kid is not named Dory. The Ellen DeGeneres thing has no place in this movie, and I forgot about it. And
it's a little bit, I feel like it would be a little disarming in the movie.
It would be
like,
a lot.
okay, it's this really serious film, and then all of a sudden she's writing letters to Ellen DeGeneres.
If Blake Lively is writing letters to Ellen, yeah. Well, so I don't want to like give it all away. I want you to see what she.
Wait, but I just want to say,
yeah, go ahead.
There was that ending, but he said he was even uncomfortable with showing them speaking again, and so the ending that I thought was the movie, and maybe this was just Justin Baldoni's cut, but I think I read something on, I don't remember where the article was from. I wrote it down somewhere. But anyway, they said that the ending that they ended up doing, Ryle's not seen on screen until, Ryle's not seen on screen after the birth of the daughter. And that he felt more comfortable showing that like their lives are completely separate.
Dude, he's there for the birth. In the movie.
Well, I think it's after that is what I mean. Like after she's born, he's not seen on screen again.
Well, it's the very end of the movie. So, I mean, that's not that hard. It's literally like the last 5 minutes of the movie. So I don't know. That's not like a big deal. I don't know. Because I think there's a world, and this is one of the reasons I think this movie is getting some pushback. And I don't honestly know if the movie is getting pushback or if it's just this press around it. Like, that's so crazy. And if you guys
is getting people to see the movie.
Absolutely.
And getting people to talk about it, which is a part of why I'm like, maybe it is PR.
But not for Blake Lively. I'm sorry. It's gone too far. Blake Lively is about to be burned to the ground. Like, she needs to get this figured out. I don't know why she hasn't hired someone. She needs to get ahead of this.
She needs and I am curious.
She needs a crisis PR team. That's what she needs right now. I here's what I kind of have worked out in my head, and I don't know if I said this yet. I don't know if I had like gotten this, but him being the director and playing an abuser, he held all the power on that set. And intimacy coordinators, for those of you who don't know like exactly what they do, I want to kind of like step into the mind of an actor, because as an actor on stage, I could see where this is a major fucking issue. Because number one, intimacy coordinators are literally there to be like you might think things look natural. Every single touch, second, like lip movement is blocked. It is all blocked, so there's no room for error. This is also how stage combat is done. So any kind of violent scene where someone's going to be thrown down the steps or something like that is blocked. Every minute detail is blocked, so there's no room for error. Okay, so everybody on stage feels safe. If he did get lost in a moment, whatever, break something, go off of the choreography for an intimate scene, I can understand how, as Blake Lively, I might feel like, well, if he did that during this, who's to say he won't go off the choreography in a scene where I'm on a staircase and it could have some serious consequences, you know, like, and then that creates a sense of, I don't trust you enough to be in scenes with you, but I have to. And you're also the director. So I don't have anyone to tell these concerns to. I can't go to my director and be like, oh, I'm having a little trouble. Like, I feel like maybe we need to relook at the end. Like, that's what a director would do. Like, you would go to the director and express concerns or something's not working in the scene or whatever. She didn't have that, you know? So that, I think, put things in kind of a weird perspective, as well as him telling her how to react to what his character is doing. If she didn't agree with it and it's told from a female perspective, I'm like, maybe she's not wrong. I don't know. The other question here is, did Colleen Hoover want, because there's a world where, and there's no right or wrong, you know, like I haven't been in a relationship that has forced me to deal with this, so I can't speak to it. But I believe that there's a world where co-parenting and having some kind of a relationship for your child does exist for the betterment of your child's life. I wonder, like, I felt like I wouldn't want him in the room giving birth, and I felt like I wouldn't want to continue the relationship with him and co-parent, but I wonder if, like, we can't say that that's wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's, I think, what is so interesting about this whole thing is that, and this happens with the internet all the time. Like, there's either it's black or it's white, and it's like, in most situations, the answer, not that there's an answer, but I mean, the gray area looks different for every single situation, and what looks right for you might not look right for another person.
Yeah.
Or they might not be, it might suck and it might be really unfortunate, but they might not have the resources to completely pull back.
I mean, that is
completely, like,
I think that's
there's also a financial responsibility in terms of a parenting thing.
Yes. And this isn't really touched on in the book or in the movie because it just isn't. But like, if we take it into the real world for a second, she runs a flower shop and he's a neurosurgeon. And she was married to him, living in his apartment, in their apartment. So her, like, that's a huge reason people don't leave. Because will you be able to afford to support yourself outside of this? You know, that's the bare minimum. And then on top of everything else. So it's like, she would probably need that support from him.
I worry that, and I don't know that I mean, the internet feels like such an echo chamber, and it's like these things that feel like what everybody's talking about might not really be making as much movement at the top levels as we think it is. But I worry that if we don't allow these stories to be told in different ways with different colorings, it's like, will they be told? I think if we are holding a magnifying glass to this, and it's like, it's not like there, I just feel like it looks like there was, I know it sucks Justin Baldoni directed it as a man, but it does look like he made sure that there were certain things being taken place. There was research going into it. There were people that he was speaking to make sure that he was hopefully telling the story correctly. Colleen Hoover has her own experience with it. I just think we need to allow, there needs to be room for you to maybe not see yourself in the story entirely, or to not like the story and still allow it to be told.
And I think this is something that I always say about theater, and like, movies are theater. Theater, most of the time, like, it is there to make you think. It is there to, like, spark something in you. And if you see something and then you're talking about it a week later, doesn't matter if you hated the show. If you're talking about it, then that actor, that playwright, that director did what they wanted to do, right? So exactly, like, we need to be able to go see movies from perspectives that are not our own and disagree with it, but still see the validity in it and still acknowledge that that is a real experience that maybe someone is experiencing, so that it's not wrong. Like, we can't, there's also no right or wrong way to suffer and to, like, be abused and to cope.
And everybody should get to tell their own story from their own perspective. And that should be, it doesn't have to be received completely positively, but we need to be willing to receive it at all, I guess is what I'm saying. And it all comes back to cabaret. It all comes back to cabaret, as it always does. Because, you know, I mean, that's where I think that's such a perfect piece of theater.
That's a good example.
Week. But it's just that people were so unhappy with that musical when it was first put out. They could not believe it. And it was, when you look back on it, you're like, whoa, that was put out pretty close. That was also put out pretty close. The world.
It was like 40 years. Like,
it was like right after it happened. Yeah. But we needed it. And the thing about that, the story is that it's relevant every single time it resurges. Yeah. It's like, whoa, I feel like I am still looking in a mirror. I can see these behaviors existing now. And here's the thing, I can still say I love Cabaret and still say I don't really think that I agree with how it's being done right now on Broadway.
Yeah.
But someone somewhere, that perspective works for them.
Well, and it's so true. Like one of my students and her family just saw it in New York and they loved it. Yeah, loved it.
Interesting. I wonder if it is the kind of thing where I'm saying I don't like it, but maybe if I went to go see it, I'd love it.
She liked his
Did she
Tony's
see Eddie Redmayne?
Yeah. Yeah. She liked his Tony's performance. So she was like, I want to go. I like it. And she didn't know what the original ending was either. So I was like asking her what she thought of the new ending. But anyway, yeah, it's a great point. Like sometimes stories aren't pretty, but that's like why they need to be told. And sometimes stories need to be packaged up in a different way and presented, because just because it ends with us didn't like do it for you doesn't mean that it didn't make somebody else feel so seen and perhaps empowered to make a decision that helps them get out of a hard situation. You know, like we don't know. I think,
or even like for people who haven't, again, experienced it, to see it, it got them to a theater where now they're put in the position to empathize with women in a way that they're not used to.
Because see how it happens.
Because in their head, exactly, in their head, they might go see it and they're the kind of person who looks at a domestic violence story and says, why didn't she just leave?
And
now she's seeing the story and she's seeing, oh, I get it.
Yes.
I get why she can't leave.
And there's one thing I want to say about this too is that, like, it shows one how it happens, like how you can fall in love. They let you fall in love with him. They let you kind of like look past certain flaws and moments because that's what is happening to her. And she even says it in the movie. She says, I'm an unreliable narrator. She says that, and we're seeing it from her perspective. So we have to assume that we're not getting the whole story. We're getting snippets of her relationship with Atlas throughout the movie, but we don't get the whole thing, you know. So we are only getting what she allows us to see. And that's one of my complaints with it being directed by a man, but whatever, it is what it is. However, I think one thing that's interesting that this movie also shows is the cycle of how it often seems like, how does lightning strike the same tree twice? You know what I mean? Like how, and this, I felt this in my life about experiences I've gone through where something's happened and then something similar happens later. And I'm like, how does this, like, what is wrong with me?
Well, it's like I agree with you. And it's also, things that are struck by lightning once are more likely to be struck by lightning twice.
Exactly. And it's not because you're weak. It's not because whatever. It's because the people who are abusers and the people who are capable of doing these things and who have this inside them, they are looking specifically for traits of people who are broken, who have experienced something like this, because that's what they know they can prey on. They are looking for people who maybe, you know, are a little bit fucked up, a little bit broken, maybe don't have the support system they wish they had. Maybe there's something, whatever, that they can get in there. They're looking for that. And you can't help that you have it unless you have healed, unless you've gone through something. And oftentimes once people start doing the work and go through therapy and treatment and all this stuff, they come out on the other side, they are no longer targeted by these kinds of people. And it's because they now see you as somebody they cannot get into. Like, they now see you as somebody who's too strong and too savvy for them to work on anymore, you know? And so I just think it's one thing also that I thought was interesting, and I liked that they showed this like cycle of things, like it happening to the mother, and then how does it end up also happening to the daughter? And she says she would never be like that. And it's like, it's not really up to you. You had some serious healing you needed to go through, and she's so avoidant. Like, she, you know, leaves her father's funeral. She's so avoidant. So it's interesting. And the last thing I'll say about it is, I just don't think Blake Lively was the right choice. And honestly, I thought she was fine in the movie. Like, I've never thought she's like an actress, you know, but she didn't, like, I didn't think it was that bad in terms of her performance. But I just think if you wanted this movie to be taken seriously, and if you wanted this movie to tell this story and not have it to be a distraction, she just wasn't the choice.
Don't go with Serena van der Woodsen.
Don't go with Serena van der Woodsen if you want people to take away a specific message from this because.
And unfortunately, I do feel like, and I haven't wanted to admit this, but I think that Blake Lively just is Serena van der Woodsen. And Serena van der Woodsen sucks.
Serena van der Woodsen. And guys, when we get into Gossip Girl, like the Aria hate train we're on right now, we will fully be stopping in Serena van der Woodsen land and revamping.
And what's her name? Miss Vanessa.
Oh, I hate Vanessa. But yeah, like Serena is.
Vanessa is Aria.
Yes, she is.
They would have been
Serena's
friends.
like Allie vibes, but like has the I'm special disease, has the I'm different pick me, blah, 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 whatever. Serena's like the ultimate pick me, but so is Vanessa. They both are. Oh my God, different fonts, just different fonts, different tax brackets, you know? That's all.
Serena is a girly girl, guy's girl.
Yeah.
And Vanessa is just a guy's girl.
Yes. But she's kind of, I don't know. Anyway, we'll have plenty of time to explore that, which I love. But I just think that's not who I'm hiring for this role if I don't want people to be distracted.
It frankly probably should have been like, I hate saying a no-name actress, but it should have been like a fresh face.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree. I think it should have been. I also will say the casting for young Lily was actually impeccable, like shocking. Like she sounded and looked just like her, that there were times where I wasn't sure if it was young Lily or older Lily.
She probably listened to your impression.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God.
Guys,
I didn't
we
stay
were
for the
gonna admit it, but
credits.
it's actually Caroline.
I didn't stay for the credits. Can somebody go back and let me know if my name's in there for inspiration or something?
Caroline plays young Lily Bloom.
Yeah,
Lily Blossom Bloom.
That's me. You guys, it'll be obvious when you see the movie. Anyway, I liked the movie, honestly. Thought it was good, but
I'm definitely gonna go see it.
Yeah, you have to see it. I do think Blake Lively really needs to hire a crisis PR team. I don't know why she hasn't already.
What's the holdup?
Exactly. What is the holdup? And the other thing is like, what the hell with these interviews? And did I send it to you? No, I think I saved it to show to my mentor, but there was something that was like, you want to know why this is so bad is because celebrities like Blake Lively don't do press like this for a reason. Taylor Swift isn't. They show up at an event, they walk the carpet one time and they walk straight in. They do not stop to talk to all the press. They do not do interviews all the time. They aren't doing these things. So they're not media trained the same way. They're not expecting the scrutiny because they're not used to doing this like all the time. But also that's the reason they're not. Is because they're not good at it. Like they're not likable. They're packaged up in a way for us to be palatable to the masses. But if you actually were to talk to them, it doesn't mean they're going to be like that. That's why people say don't meet your heroes. But like in the interview she did with the guy who plays Atlas, he just looks so, and there were two moments that I was like, oh my God, I want to die. The first is when they say, how should people get in touch with you if they want to talk about it? And she's like, oh, do you want my location? Do you just want to follow me home? Would that be best? And it is like, what kind of question is that? No one's going to get to talk to Blake Lively about it. But also, why wouldn't she just give a fucking bullshit response and be like, I don't know. I don't know what she could say. But she could have said something.
Well, she could have been preemptively putting resources on her page. She could have had a couple hotline numbers memorized going into press. She could have had a ton of stuff prepared to talk about this incredibly sensitive subject.
Even without getting the questions ahead of time, she could have been so trained for this and like prepared for this. And
she should have been.
It feels kind of like lazy that she didn't, you know, and I don't know if it is lazy. I hope it's not diabolical, but I don't know.
I will put it on her because she's an adult and she has been in this industry for a long time. But I'm also like, why wasn't her team?
I know.
Like prepping her, like the fucking the presidential candidates are getting, not that they're using their prep, but they're getting prepped on how to answer certain questions. They know what's being talked about and they know what they're going to have to answer for.
Yeah.
And they have canned responses.
Literally.
I don't understand why Blake Lively couldn't have had that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes no sense.
Someone's getting fired.
And it's like the harder she tried. Wait, there's one more moment in that interview I have to mention because I hadn't seen it yet. They ask him, what made it so easy to fall in love with Blake Lively on set?
And he's like,
did you see it?
No.
He literally looks at her and goes, I couldn't tell you. I mean, and she goes, sure you could. Yes, you could. Just say really nice things about me. And she like does this thing and he's just like, yeah, I mean, working with Blake is challenging. So And he like, it's a joke, but like, he's very dry. He's like, working with Blake is like, it's really challenging. So instead of answering the question.
That's kind of giving. And again, I know that he is not a good example for moral standing at all. But it does remind me of the Armie Hammer interview where he brings up working on Gossip Girl. And it's like, I didn't want to think it was Serena, and I wanted to think it was like, okay, well, Armie Hammer, you're fucking weird.
Yeah,
it would be weird. I would feel weird working with you. I might be weird to you.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, wait, maybe. And I saw a PA. She was like she was a stand-in for Serena on Gossip Girl. Like she would come in and do like reshoots or whatever. And she would talk to the PAs about them, and she was like, I was really hoping I'd get to meet Blake and Leighton.
Like, no, you aren't. No, you don't.
And
You're
all
lucky.
the PAs were like, oh my God, Leighton is so nice. Like she's so sweet. She's the best. Like she comes in, she's so polite. She's so like, she loves talking to us.
I love
all this
that.
stuff. They didn't say a word about Blake.
Holy shit.
I know.
Well, you know what they say, Phoebe. If you don't have
if you
anything
don't
nice
have
to
anything
say,
nice to say,
don't say anything at all. Exactly.
And I've always said that.
And we actually have always, we don't live by it, but we have always said it.
We've always said it.
And just because we said it doesn't mean it always happens.
It's kind of like a rule for you, not for us. JK,
Exactly.
JK.
Okay, let's look at the
Anyway,
note.
let's talk about something a little more lighthearted.
Okay.
While Caroline looks at the note, I'm going to bring up something I wrote in the note, and I just want to put this out there, and I don't know that we've discussed this, but sorry, my Americano is hitting my brain.
Oh,
and
right.
suddenly I'm talking a mile a minute.
I love it. Guys, did you guys like Phoebe's recap last week really quick? I think it's good if we do acknowledge that we're aware. You know what I mean? So it's like they know that we know. Mom was like, the crazy thing is Phoebe had to start editing, and she hears, I'm talking about episode 516, by the way. What is it called? Dirty Liar? What is it called?
Fresh meat. What the fuck?
Fresh meat. We get to the intro, we're like, hello, we're like jazzed, we're like so excited to be here, chatting, and then it goes to the recap and we have okay.
My mom texted us and said, Phoebe, did you film your recap in the library?
I'm doing the recap.
I mean, I don't need a full play-by-play.
Oh, I'm not going
Sorry,
to.
everybody.
But, and then it goes at the end of the recap, it goes right back into, and Mom was like, the funniest part is Phoebe like had to edit the beginning and after it, and she didn't like think for a second there was like a little bit of a disparity between the energy levels here. So anyway, it's funny, but go on.
I wrote in the note, I don't know if we've talked about the fact that I actually kind of I kind of might have served as the inspiration for HOTTOGO.
Oh, I think this all the time because of HOT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, walk me through this. Walk me through exactly how it went from you to Chapel.
Well, I think the podcast, because we always tell that story of HOT. And she was like,
that's so true. And Chapel
song.
famously listens, and this podcast was famously out before her album was. So
it was.
I know.
And I was a fan.
I know you were.
That, I'm sure.
Apparently Kelly was at a wedding last night and Hot to Go started playing, and she was so excited, and like only 3 people knew the song. And I was like, how is that possible?
I love the tweets that are like, anytime the Billboard tweets, even though like she's a Billboard now, but like before, when the Billboard like top 10 would come out, and people on Twitter would realize that we really do live in such an echo chamber of everyone in the world knows these songs.
Yeah.
And then you see the top 10 and it's like,
whoa, wait.
I was going to say I had some help by Post Malone, but let me just say something. And this is kind of out of character for me. Because I'm not really a country girl. I know I live in Nashville, but country's not always my go-to.
Weird.
The new Post Malone album.
You like?
I can't stop listening.
Oh God, are you gonna be like Posty? I want to get tattoos on my face too.
No. Post Malone, I could be friends with him.
Okay,
but I'm not attracted to him at all.
Well, that's
except for his voice.
Yeah, his voice is good, but I will say, I honestly, and he seems like a really nice guy too. Like I genuinely like Post Malone, but I do feel like some of these girls who say that they're so in love with him and like that he's their dream guy, I'm like, I don't really believe you. I feel like this is a little bit like, first of all, you know you're never gonna have to be with him, so like it's easy to say, but also number 2, it's like, okay, you want to rebel against your parents, you know? It's like,
right,
that's the vibe.
But guys, I would recommend the album. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Dolly Parton's on it.
The good news is they've all probably already listened to it because he is so mainstream, and that's where it's like the worlds we live in.
Well, I think so, but I don't know about our listeners.
I think that our listeners are, I mean, I'm not calling them mainstream, but like we're mainstream, so
I know,
so
but
they
if you
must
listen
be.
to it,
Wait, okay, someone messaged us today. Not yet. Someone messaged us today because I was talking about Emily in Paris, which is out. Season 3 is out. God, I hate Emily in Paris, the girl. She is the worst character
the
ever.
Emily that's in Paris.
Yeah, I literally hate Emily in Paris, that girl, the one that's there in Paris. Can't stand her. But God, I love this show. Do you watch it?
No, I haven't watched it.
You honestly should. The tweet that I put on our story about it,
That tweet made me laugh.
It perfectly
tweet made
sums
me
it up where
laugh.
it's like, it is like Selling Sunset for me, where like once I watch through it once, I will just be on a loop. Like I probably watched.
Speaking of,
It's coming. Oh my God, dude, I can feel my powers growing stronger. We are getting into the peak season. Okay.
oh my God, I'm so excited. What I love about the sunset shows, the selling shows, is that we get them so quickly.
All right, they're so
I can't
quick.
believe
They churn
we have
them
another season
out.
coming.
I know.
I'm
They
gonna
don't
have
make
to
us
rewatch
wait.
the last season.
I am too. Well, that's what I realized with Emily in Paris is I am gonna have to rewatch because I don't remember anything. Because as the tweet said, that's not why you do watch Emily in Paris. We're not watching it for story. Okay, we're just watching it for like the vibes. And you have to be okay with the fact that you will never root for Emily. Like Emily's never. If you're rooting for her, you're on the wrong side of history.
Does Lily Collins know that? Do you think?
I think she must. Emily is like problematic 20-something-year-old figuring it out, and she's a little messy.
I love Lily Collins. Lily Collins could have been Lily Blossom Bloom.
Yeah, well, no, because she's got to have that red hair, and with her eyebrows, I don't think it would have worked. Because Lily Collins can't get rid of her eyebrows.
Sadie Sink.
Too young.
She might be too young, but in the book,
Chapel Roan. Okay,
imagine that.
Chapel Roan should have played Lily Blossom
Halfway through the
Bloom.
movie. Halfway through the movie. Wait, did you see the video of those two people doing the hot to go dance? Where it's two people, and he's doing the HO, and then he puts his arms out like this.
Hits his friend.
He clotheslines his friend in the neck, and it makes the loudest noise I've
Oh my God,
ever
did his
heard.
head come clean off? Like, why did it make such
No,
a
it
loud
was a
noise?
girl,
And
even worse. It was,
so did her head come clean off? Okay,
It
sorry
was
for
like- it was
misgendering her. Did her head
It
come
was
off?
like no.
That is funny.
That
I
is such a
haven't
good
seen
video.
it. What were we just saying?
Emily in Paris.
Oh, Emily in Paris. Yeah, you should watch it though, because also we love Ashley Park. Big Ashley Park fans.
I don't know who that is.
She's a Broadway girly. And
Does
so
she
just-
play the friend?
Yeah, so it just always feels very I just love seeing Broadway girlies make it onto the screen. But yeah, so anywho, I love Lily Collins too, but this character, God, it's like she's supposed to be like fun and messy and like, oh my God, quirky, blah, blah, but like the things she's doing aren't,
Or like reckless?
they're like really mean. Like
They're not
you
fun and quirky, they're
sleeping with your
reckless.
best friend's boyfriend is like, that isn't, and then trying to just lie about it and pretend it never happened and be friends with her still is really fucked up. Like that's actually so fucked up. It's hard to continue to root for you, Emily. And so that's sort of Emily's whole thing is like, it's impossible to
I
root
love
for
when
her.
I love when we get a real and relatable
Unlikable.
unreliable.
Yeah, like she's just
Unrootable.
unredeemable.
Yes.
She just, there's nothing. But that's like why we like the show. So you should watch it because I think it will do the same thing that Selling does for you, where it's like it can just kind of be on and like you'll like it. Everyone loves it. Okay, so but that I needed to say about it. But somebody responded to the story talking about that and said there is a podcast called Emily. Hang on, I have to find it. It's an Emily in Paris hate podcast. And this girl was like, I really think you guys would like the host a lot. Wait, okay. Who sent this?
We find out that we've compartmentalized this so much it's actually our podcast.
It's our podcast. There's an amazing podcast called Enemy in Paris. It's an Emily in Paris hate watch pod, and it's hilarious. I think you two would like the host. I was like, yeah, I have no doubt. So I will be tuning into that.
That's so funny.
Anyway, okay, what's next on your list?
Should we
of
talk
things?
about Big Brother a little bit?
Let's get into it.
Did you see the video of them singing Happy Birthday to Angela?
No.
She starts crying.
Because Big Brother got her birthday wrong. Do you think?
No, but on her actual birthday.
Okay.
Do you think they did it on purpose?
Got her birthday wrong? Yeah, I'm asking that. Because, Phoebe, there are some challenges later on. These are the crazy ones. They're all crazy. But there are some challenges later where they'll be like, okay, who won the veto week 7? Yeah. Or they'll be like, on day 33, so and so.
These people barely know what time it is.
I know. So I'm actually wondering if they did that to try and like discombobulate them even more. Yeah. Or it was an accident. But I feel like that's not fair. Like that's not fair. But
do they have any writing utensils in there?
Yeah, I think they can journal.
Like, would you just be keeping?
I would be journaling. I would be either waking. I think I'd be waking up really early so that I could have like some time alone. And I think I would
have to make a calendar.
Be writing
too.
day, blah blah blah, and write like the big things that happen. Then I'll have a list of like all the like you have to, but also to like keep your shit straight
because of your photographic memory.
Yeah, then I burn it.
I think you should also make a calendar though.
Oh,
because
that's a good idea.
Because instead of having to memorize a list of like day this, then you'd be able to see it.
That's true.
You'd be like veto equals.
I know. I need. Does anyone have any like behind the scenes like secrets? Because there are a few things I've been wanting to know, because I've started to do this thing where I pretend like I'm a contestant when she's explaining the rules to the game to see if I would need more explanation or if I would have questions.
I think that all the time.
Yeah. And like a lot of the times I get distracted, but I'm like, if I was there, I don't think so. And I do think that they are like, I think on the live shows, it's like probably during a commercial break, they like explain it and they're like, what questions do you have? I think that's what it looks like. Cause also like on the Thursday, I realized that like we would see into the AI arena as Julie's like, okay, we're going to take a commercial. And then we'd see like the Wednesday, Thursday day footage. Yes. And I'm sure that while we're watching is when they're getting all in the game. I actually thought that this game on 2 games on Thursday were, or the veto game, the fucking like, you have to step on the right ones. Oh my god! But the ball was both of those were so fucking hard. I thought the ball one I thought was hard. The ball one I did think was hard. At first, I was like, I think my strategy would be to try to get all the balls in the same area so that then I could knock more than one down when it was time to do the silver balls. But then I'm like, what if you knock your balls off when you're doing that? So I don't know. That's one of those ones I feel like until you do it, like, and feel it in your hand, you wouldn't like be able to tell like what the move was. I felt bad for Rabina. Oh my god, that was crazy. Like that was crazy. I thought Rabina. I was like, oh, Rabina won, and then I didn't. It literally photo finish. I would have actually felt really bad if I was MJ. Wait, how funny was it? How funny was it watching Angela do the veto challenge where she just kept stepping on the wrong one? Like, oh my god, oh my god! And they started editing it together so that like you literally realized, oh wait, she's fully stepping on the wrong one every single time. The editing is so like funny. Three, not even like getting to the end and then forgetting. Like she's like 1, 2. Wrong every time. I think for that, I think I would be really good at. I think I would remember it all really fast. Brooklyn's strategy I thought was pretty good, like making a song. Yeah. Because mom always taught us that. That's how I always remembered our number at Chartiers. I know. I think I'd do that, or I would just like, I can like probably see that in my head, I think, if I was doing it. But you couldn't tell anybody about that. Oh, I wouldn't. But I also think I would go really fast as I could to try to figure it out which one it is right away. Like, don't care about being messy. Just like go as fast as you can. And then once I had like seen the whole thing, just do it. I think that's, but I would have actually been pissed off because I was kind of getting annoyed with Cedric because Cedric was just like watching the other people and like, and I was like, okay, eyes on your own fucking paper. They should have been different patterns, I think. Yeah. Or they were trying to make it equal, but like you shouldn't be able to see the other person. Or like they should have started at the same place, not ended at the same place. I guess it's a mind thing. I mean, yeah. Like, well, Mackenzie was the one who was like, well, I'm just gonna, I guess it's like, it's all a test of perseverance, I suppose. It's crazy. But yeah, I thought that looked fun. Some of these games look fun. I'm hooked. My friends at Cheesecake Factory couldn't believe that I was watching the feeds. Oh my god. They really? Were like, you went from 0 to 100 there, didn't you? Well, meanwhile, I'm like, how do I sell Phoebe on Big Brother? The feeds. That's how, because I'm going to tell Phoebe you can have 24/7 access to these people. Guys, I maybe I'll post a picture of this next week, but I literally do a split screen on my computer of the feeds and the news.
And the feeds, I like whenever it
You
goes
have
to
the
a
volume
commercial
up
on
on the feeds.
whenever it goes to a commercial in the news, I turn the volume up on the feeds. Or if I see like stuff in the chat
Yeah.
saying like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this conversation," I'm like,
I
"Oh,
never look in the chat though.
you need to."
I know I should. I'm like, I use Twitter as like my chat, and then like I'm on the feeds. But it's funny because like, you know, Amber's manning the feeds all day. Like she is manning.
And that's
the
also helpful.
feeds.
She'll text and she'll be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this conversation." I'll be like, "Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
and
tune in
tune
right
in.
now."
Yeah. I will usually at nighttime put it on, and then like I'll have it on for the night because there's a lot of gameplay that happens in the late night.
She gets the nighttime shift.
Yeah, and then I'll like send anything like important that I think is happening. But I also think, have you noticed the edit? It's not editing because it's all live, but on the live feeds, like sometimes
When they cut, it's really interesting.
Well, if there's anything big, like last night, Brooklyn told Chelsea she was a former Mrs. America. So not Miss America, but Mrs. for married women. So that's why that's like her whole thing. Chelsea falls to the ground as if you told her that like she actually was Hannah Montana, that it was like a pop star, like double life thing. Falls to the ground. She's like, I knew there was something. And Brooklyn's like, he. You know, Brooklyn.
Oh, she's so annoying.
She's so annoying. And then it cut. And I was like, oh, because Brooklyn gave her that as like, okay, I'm giving you a piece of like who I am. And that they use all that as like collateral. And they don't want us to see that because that could be, that's like strategy.
The feeds, sometimes the feed cuts though are like comedic timing.
Yes.
Like you can tell
yes.
that like they're about to like have or it's like, oh, they're about to like tell us a CBS secret.
Yes.
And, like,
and then it'll go to like Quinn like just eating something at
and
a
it's
table.
like, okay, well, this is actually the last thing that I want to see, but
Yeah,
thank you. Unless it's that
funny.
gif of Brooklyn. Did you see the tweet that I just sent you and Amber that was Brooklyn when she's asked if she was the one who messed with Tucker's clothes? And it's that video of Michael Jackson, because people have been saying that Brooklyn looks like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And it's the video of him in the interview where he goes, "It's all lies. It's BS. It's all none of it's true. None of it's true.
Feet
It's
good.
BS."
That's funny. It's good. It's BS.
So funny.
Yeah, I don't like Brooklyn, but so it went off at that point. But there was one funny part where like cut to someone's like sitting at the table eating, and then the camera slowly zooms in over their shoulder to the wall to Joseph's face, and it's just
So funny.
and it's just
so
on
funny.
Joseph for a while, and then it like slowly and I'm like, they're just entertaining themselves and the few people that are watching, but it's just so fun to like go on the feeds. I'm glad you're on the Twitter too, because it's like I love going on Twitter now.
I saw a tweet and I thought this was something interesting to think about as our world has changed in the last 26 years of them doing this show. But people were like, because a bunch of pictures of Tucker have resurfaced of him like hanging out with other Big Brother people. And people are like, I'm tired of these like
plants,
E-list celebrities.
yeah.
Or like people that want to be that getting on the show.
Yeah.
I want it to just be regular people again. But I'm like, I think we're kind of past the point of that even being possible.
I
Because
agree.
if you look at like even The Bachelor, it's like, that's not why people go on these shows anymore.
No. And I think that a lot of it's just like casting in real life and theater. Like you go audition for something or someone sees you in something and they're like, oh my God, they would be great for some project one day. And then years from, that day, you don't even know you were on their radar, but they give you a call and they're like, we think you'd be really good for this. Like that happens all the time. And so there's like, I know that Brooklyn had like been on an episode of Dr. Phil before. So it's like, they probably saw her and they're like, oh, well now she's doing this. If you have a little bit of a following, I think they
Same
like
with
it.
Angela.
Yeah, if you have like a little something. So that's why I think the podcast could potentially help. But yeah, it is. But they do still have some like regular people. So I think I'm loving Chemo and Tikor. Chemo and
regular
Tikor
people
are like just
people are calling them to chemo.
all the tea that they have is so fucking fun. And they just sit there and they're like, should we tell her? No, let's not. And
Caroline would need to
find
find
in front of their faces.
Caroline would need to find her chemo.
I actually was thinking like I would need to find my chemo. The other thing I was thinking, and Phoebe took the words out of my mouth, is everyone getting all cozy in the HOH room without the HOH present.
Guys, I can't with that.
Oh my God.
There's plenty of other places for you guys to go do this shit. Get out of my room.
I feel like
I'm
it's
the
worse
HOH,
this season.
If I'm HOH, I'm never out of that room. Let me tell you that much.
Well, you would have to be. Big Brother's just so good. I'm excited we're getting into the jury week. I think after this week, we're in jury. So anyone eliminated. So what we're about to see is that house management becomes very important because it's not just going to be about comps anymore. If you fuck people over, they're waiting for you in jury and they get to vote on whether or not you win. So like you want people leaving the house to also like you, which is really tough. I think Tucker is going to have to throw.
I agree.
I'm worried. He can throw one competition and it's the next HOH. That's what he can throw. But he won't be able to play in the next one. But I mean, after he needs to win if he can play in veto because he's going to be on the block, he needs to win. If he doesn't win, he needs to win AI Arena. Mm-hmm. And then he needs to throw HOH.
I
because
agree.
He has to, yeah. I'm worried for him a little but he is such good TV and he's so good at this game. Oh my God. When Angela came in and was like, please, can I join this? Please. I'll be at the bottom. I'll be at the bottom of the heap. Please. I was like,
and it's just like times like that when I'm like, it just is mom.
I would have immediately been like, sure.
Because mom also the pictures. Well, I mean, literally, mom. I sent Amber and Caroline the pictures of Angela in the HOH room laying on the ground with her ear to the door before she goes and has that conversation with them to make the alliance. And I said, this is mom anytime Caroline and I are recording the podcast in the same house she's in.
It made me laugh so hard. I need to post it. Anyone, like, there are some people who started watching Big Brother only because we are talking about it. And so I just don't know how many people watch it. So I'm like, if I post stuff like this, does it read? Because that was so funny.
Well, regardless, I think it's funny.
It is. Did you hear that Miley Cyrus is our 2025 Super Bowl performer? Is this confirmed?
Well, yeah, I feel like the confirmation would have been like a little bit ago.
I wrote this a little bit ago.
The rumors.
I wrote Miley performing Super Bowl 2025, so we have to get there. Doesn't conflict with Big Brother 27, which Caroline will also be participating in. So we're good. So we're totally good.
Right now, it looks like it's still speculation.
Oh my God. If that is real, I've never been more excited for the Super Bowl in my life. That's a Super Bowl performer. I
also think I saw Katy Perry's name.
No fucking way. I'm sorry. That would be.
Well, she already did it. So maybe that's wrong. But I did see a tweet that said that.
She's like public enemy number 1. That would be crazy. That would be an insane decision.
Wait, is this true? Wait. Is this fake? Okay, I can't tell. There have been tweets that have said it more certain, but it's not like anybody that I trust. Anyway, I would obviously prefer it to be Miley, and I think
how fun would that be? What do you think she would?
So great.
What would like her thing be like? What would she do?
Well, like unfortunately, she's got to do Hannah Montana stuff.
I know,
because I love Miley stuff, but she doesn't really have the hits from this era.
I don't know. I think she does, and you don't even realize it. She could 100% do something from Bangers.
Well, no. Yeah, but that's...
She only needs a couple things from every era.
No, but I mean, her more recent... The stuff that I think that she wants us to take more seriously isn't going to be the stuff... It's not like... I don't think it's going to... She might play it, but it's not going to be... She cannot focus on the last 5 or 6 years of her career.
I don't think she has to. I don't think she has to. I don't think
she can't.
Everyone does that. I mean, Rihanna hasn't released music, and
no. That's what I'm saying though. Edge of Midnight is within the last like 5 years. That's what I'm saying. Is like I think she needs to focus bangers before.
But I think she can also do stuff from now. Yeah, she's got to do Flowers. Flowers was humongous.
I said she'll do Flowers, and it'll be great. But I just mean that
she's
her
not
newer
only
stuff,
gonna do Bangers and earlier.
I don't think she will, but I think that needs to be. It needs to outweigh the stuff that she does that's more recent.
I feel like it will.
Well, it needs to.
I feel like it will. But I just disagree with you. I think that she does have things that she could do more recently that I don't even realize, like in the moment, that that's her. Love Island reunion is tomorrow, and I am so fucking. Are you watching live?
Yes.
Okay, so we can live text. Perfect. And then, guys, all of our thoughts on that reunion will go on our Patreon on Friday because that's a podcast. So sorry you didn't get it here, but on Friday for tiers 2 and 3, you will have that. An interesting question was asked on Giggly Squad this week, and I thought it would be fun to explore.
I already know what you're going to say, and you know the answer.
No, I don't. What am I going to say?
If we got kidnapped, who would be killed first?
If we were kidnapped together in the same room, who would they kill
first?
Well, okay. Interesting that you were like, and I already know the answer. And I was like, I don't know. I think it's up for debate. Who do you think is getting killed first? You bitch. Who? Say it.
I just think that for similar reasons to what was said on Giggly Squad, I might make it a little longer.
But why?
Because I'm not as much of I'm a little more calm, cool, and collected.
You don't think that I could freaking pull it together in an emergency like that, especially if I was with my younger sister?
Yes, but I think it might frustrate the kidnapper, is what I'm saying. And I think that deep down.
And you think you'd offer me up
You know
first,
I'm right.
huh?
No, hey,
And
that wasn't the question.
Wait a minute.
You bitch.
I get it now.
That wasn't the question.
Phoebe's like, well, if he came in with a gun and I put you in front of me.
This is what Caroline always does.
What?
She switches it around and she changes the reality retrospectively.
I like changing the narrative because I'm a PR maven. I'm real good at it, so.
I think that's title of up. Now we can say that. How crazy is that?
Title of up. Oh my God. Wow. We've been waiting for this moment for quite
real
some time.
podcasters now.
We're real podcasters. Okay. Well, I just think that maybe they wouldn't kill me. No, because I would be more helpful. I'd be like, here, let me help you with that. I would probably do like more of the fawn, I think. Once we're in the situation. Like if we're okay while we're being kidnapped, I don't
Caroline,
know.
what did our Aunt Liney famously say to you?
That was Beth, but thanks.
Oh, I always thought it was Liney that said that.
No, Beth. Does that
Well, what did
change
Aunt
it for
Beth
you?
say to you?
Beth
What
said
did
they
Aunt Beth
would
say to you?
send me back first. They would send
Okay,
me
but-
back. So
Yeah,
it sounds
but
like
that's
I'd
not
survive.
an option in this scenario.
Well, you don't know that. Our kidnapper's unpredictable. We have no clue what's going to happen next, Phoebe. Bold
Okay.
of you to assume. Okay, well, guys, let us know what you think.
Yeah, Caroline will love that.
What did you guys think of Taylor's new bodysuit? I love it for midnight.
Me too. It's so much better. I hate that one with the rips in the middle.
Is it supposed to look like six-pack abs?
That's why it like doesn't look
I'm
good.
just
Because I'm like, is it supposed to look like a six pack?
I'm
confused.
not getting, that's not reading for me, but I like the moon. And she did her little snake thing. Did you see that when she was going down?
I'm like, when the fuck is it coming?
People are just
release
really
it.
annoyed with
I
her.
saw a tweet that was like, Taylor Swift has the chance to be the greatest friend to Blake Lively she could ever ask for by releasing Reputation right now,
I
so
saw
that
that
all media
too.
coverage,
No,
all
literally.
media coverage is removed from Blake immediately.
I mean,
You know, maybe that's why Blake hasn't hired a PR team. She's just like on
Taylor
the phone every
is her
day
PR team, yeah.
begging Taylor. She's like, Taylor, please.
I know. And Taylor's like,
Taylor's
I don't know,
I don't know, girl. You
Blake.
kind of got yourself. I can't really take the press.
Hanging
right
out
now.
with you now is like, yeah, I'm actually going through something. Okay. The next thing I want to say is that, remember how a few episodes or months ago, I don't know, we were talking about how like the best insults, and we need to be bringing them back, are like, you are such a loser. Like you're so loserish, or like you're being weird.
You're weird,
Dude, I said it,
And
so it shall
guys,
be.
I do think maybe we're owed a residual from
Yeah.
a certain candidate.
Hello,
Like, I mean,
hello.
hey, we've been saying that, and I guess you listened to
But
the podcast.
The good news also is that like,
Hey,
that we're
coach.
so right. Is that we're so right. Like those insults do hit harder than anything else. We're
And
seeing
I
it happen in
was
live
listening-
time. In real time.
I was listening to Pod Save America, I think it was, and one of them was like, it's the perfect word because you can't beat the weird allegations. No matter how hard you try to say that you're
the harder
not weird,
you try,
the more you beg for people to not think you're weird, the weirder you look.
just look at the mascot of our pod, Army Hammer. Arnie Hammer. How do you say his name?
Army.
I will never remember it.
It's spelled
I will never
Army.
remember. Wait, now I'll always remember it because it's spelled like his favorite food. Arms, human arms. Oh wait, you didn't mean like that?
No, I was just like, his name is.
I thought you meant,
literally. You see it written down, and you're like, it can't be anything other than army.
I thought you were trying to say it's army, like to help me remember because he's a cannibal. He likes to eat arms, which is way freaking funnier. This is where also, I'm like, someone tell Army Hammer that, like, someone tell everyone, the harder you try not to be weird, the weirder you get.
Exactly.
Okay, and I just think it's so funny to watch an entire group of people spiral because they were called weird. And it's
then
like,
act weird.
And then you just are acting actually so weird that, like, I actually feel bad for you now. It's like,
it's actually like, how don't you see it? It's like, and any time there's like a rebuttal, I'm like, yeah,
I feel like I'm living in a different universe than everyone else. Cause I'm like, are we
they
all
certainly
seeing
are.
this? Are the people who are there holding these jars, are they seeing this? Like, what? It really every day feels more like a simulation. But I was like, I saw something today about how the weird people are really angry about being called weird, so they're doing more weird shit. And I was just like, it's so true that these classic age-old insults, we don't even need to spruce them up. Like, we're good.
It's like the great scholar Charlie XCX said. I just feel like the artistry really will shine
Speaks
through.
for itself. Exactly.
And it's like, okay, bumping that. All right, that's the artistry we're talking about. It's Brat Summer, but
right. And
be
there
real
is
for a
one thing
second.
I do want to say, like, we're Brat Summer for sure. We're having Brat Summer. We love Brat Summer. We love Charlie XCX. I have been seeing some things recently, and I do just want to, like, draw attention to this because I do think this is a bit of an issue. She is very much romanticizing the use of cocaine.
Oh,
and
for sure.
I do want to be clear to everybody that, like, supporting Brat Summer does not mean that we condone
And also
drug use.
I also think what's dangerous and irresponsible is obviously that at its just surface level. But I think as a celebrity, and again, I don't want celebrities to be doing it either, but they have access typically to something that's they know what's going to be what they're think they're buying, and to romanticize it to people that don't have that same luxury could end in something really, really tragic happening.
Yeah. And, like, it really could. And I just,
all drug use can end in something tragic.
Absolutely. But especially right
for
now.
them, the risk for a celebrity is very different. In some cases, a party celebrity, like, they typically can know that what they're getting is clean.
Right.
Or they can test it more easily.
And
it's
I just think, like, if I can just impart wisdom on you all, no one needs to do cocaine. Like, literally no one needs to do it. I'm going to go in a little spiel about this because we do not need to be doing cocaine as a society. And when I sing, should we do a little key, should we do a little line, I'm not really suggesting that. It's like, let's maybe take electrolytes or like liquid IV kind of moment. You know what I'm saying? And don't snort it, because cocaine, it's like how they used to say, like, oh, it's not your father's weed. Like, it's not, you know, whatever. It's the same thing. It's not safe and by any means. And even if, you know, you trust the people that you got it from, like, you just don't know. Fentanyl is everywhere right now. It doesn't even have to be fentanyl, but that is what's fucking everywhere. And it only takes one time for it to kill you. And I know that this might be crazy coming from me because I'm such a Brat Summer, like, go, bumping that girl. But I'm not actually. And I just want to make that clear because there is a little bit of worry I have that Coke is going to have, like, a big resurgence because of Brat. And we're going to see the effects of it. And then it's going to be really bad for Charlie, and it's going to be really bad for everyone in the world. So that is what I have to say about that. Is I don't think we should be doing it. But the other thing is, if you are doing it, please God, harm reduction is really important. And you know, like we're saying, Charlie XCX has means to make sure she's I mean, as safe as you can be, I guess. I don't know that she is, but she does have the means, you know, and the access. That just has to be part of the equation for any drug users in the world, because what I'm learning about is that just telling someone like don't do something is just not effective. People are going to do what they're going to do. There are people who are suffering with addictions and sicknesses, and it's no longer like my brain is making a choice. And so just please look up harm reduction. It's really important. It's testing your drugs. It's, using clean supplies and things like that. And it really can mean the difference between life and death. So don't support Coke culture at all. Love Brat Summer. I mean something different, but I just worry that it's going to get into this world where it's like, we've got I just saw that picture of a 5th grade teacher who made her door brat themed. And I was just like, that isn't I don't think that's appropriate, because the kid's going to go home and be like, oh, brat. And they listen to it and it's all about doing Coke. And then the kid is singing that. And then what it does is it's injecting it back into the mainstream media and packaging it in this way where it's fun and cool.
And they're going to think it's normal.
And
they're going to think it's normal to go to a party. And the thing is
for there to be Coke there.
It is normal. It is normal at a lot of parties, but they're going to think it's normal to be like, I don't know. It just feels like.
And when she says normal, she doesn't mean it's normal. She just means that the reality is it might be there, and it may be at more parties than you realize.
And you might feel, if you've been listening to Brat for your entire childhood and adolescence and into your adulthood,
that you can do a little key or a little line, and it'll be fine. Normal. And it might really, really, really might not be.
The line isn't, let's do a little test, then do a little line.
Right, exactly. And that's really what I mean by harm reduction,
Yeah.
And
be safe.
Yeah,
everybody.
It's really important. But anyway, I just love. We've had such a fun time with Brat Summer, and I would hate for it to be
not let it turn
overshadowed by something much darker and more sinister. So, just wanted to say that. I want to look at things people sent in really quick. Okay, do we watch Southern Charm? Yes, when it's on.
Yeah, I don't sit down for it like Vanderpump.
Oh, but I feel like you will now, because I think Paige is just going to be more and more on it. Paige, I wasn't watching before, even when I lived in Charleston, I wasn't. And I started really because of Paige, because
I'm always I want to watch the whole thing, because I know that the drama's got to be good.
Oh, it's
good.
I
just sometimes I don't know. It's got a slow start.
It's good. And my ex was on the show last season. So yeah, you could say I'll be tuning in, actually. I'm comfortable saying that. I'm pretty sure he doesn't listen to this. But
pretty sure.
But maybe. But yeah, that was crazy.
Guys, her ex is Whitney from Southern Charm.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Her ex is T-Rap. Southern Charm.
That's actually not funny. Go fuck yourself. That's actually
slanderous.
Funny. Not funny. But yeah, so I don't know when it's coming back, but I will be seated, and so Phoebe probably should be too, because we'll need to talk about it. So guys, let us know if you're watching Southern Charm. You want to know. Well, something we can end on before our rotations is we have a lot of listeners who are going through breakups right now, which is so tough. But they asked for some advice, and I think that I was talking to someone recently who was going through a breakup, and I think from a big sister perspective, the best advice I can give, and this is the advice that I've given Phoebe and given Lily and said to them, is you have to, as soon as you can, take the rose-colored glasses off. You have to see, you know what I mean? You have to see it for what it is, or you will never get over it. And what that means is you got to stop making excuses for them, and you have to stop convincing yourself that the excuses they gave you were true, because the truth is, if somebody wanted to, they would. And if they have made a decision to leave the relationship, now your job is just to get over it. And if they've said to you things that they said because they weren't strong enough to just be upfront with you and honest, and they wanted to give you a bunch of reasons to try and soften this blow, what that's actually giving you is a little bit of false hope and thinking that things might change, or this isn't forever, or it's not because they don't like me, it's because of this other thing. And it's people go through hard things all the time, and they still are able to maintain relationships or be in relationships because it's important to prioritize it. It's important to them. It really sucks. There's a lot of like ego death that you have to go through and realizing that somebody doesn't want to be with you. And
it can also be really freeing when you get to that place, because then you also
you start
to see the cracks.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, why didn't I care about that or realize that or notice that or say something? Like I shouldn't have been treated,
And then you start to even see how people in your life were maybe being treated by the person, or how the people in their life were being treated. And you're like, well, I did think that was weird. And I did think that they should maybe care about that more. Or they should treat someone better. But I was making excuses for them.
Right. And it's like,
and also then now it gives you this opportunity to be like, to your friends, like, I'm sorry I didn't see that for what it was. And it can allow you to grow in those relationships more.
Absolutely.
And now you are going to know how to be loved better going forward. And that's something to be excited about.
Yes. And like, that's another thing that I've learned is like, you have to go through relationships that don't end well, because they're all teaching you like what you will and will not allow in a relationship. And so maybe you've been in a relationship with somebody who, I'm just going to use like a random example. This isn't like necessarily that bad, but I'm just saying, okay, so let's say you're in a relationship with someone who never calls when they say they're going to, and that really bothers you. But anytime you bring it up, they get really mad at you, and you feel like you can't bring it up anymore, and that it's stupid that that's even important to you. And so you start pushing your needs to the side because you want to avoid conflict, and this person can't do it. When the reality is, like, if that person, every now and then, okay, but if that person knew how important it was to you, then it should have been important to them as well. And you might leave that relationship and think, you know what? No, in my next relationship, if I say, hey, it would mean so much to me if you would like call me, whatever, or when you're
and you learn how to communicate it. You're able to then look back on how you communicated in one relationship, and you bring that into your next one, and then you just keep learning
for what you want.
Exactly. And then you can figure it out early on.
Yes. And that way, like, you're like, okay, this is for me. I want you to know that, like, if you do, the first time the person doesn't call and they say they're going to, you can say, hey, that's something for me that like, it really means a lot to me when you like actually call. So if you're not going to call, just don't say you're going to. And just moving forward, like, this is something that's important to me. Now they know it doesn't immediately need to be like, this is a deal breaker for me. Like, you ease into it, but you're teaching them how to be in a relationship with you. And if they can't do it, that's okay. It's not the right relationship, but you've learned that that's something you need.
When you communicate it early, because when you take what you've learned from one relationship and you bring it into another one, and you're able to communicate a need early on, later in the relationship, they now don't have the excuse of being like, well, I didn't know you needed that. It's like, well, I actually made it very clear from the beginning that if you couldn't give me that thing, if this was something that you couldn't deliver on, I wasn't going to be upset, but this wouldn't have worked, and I wouldn't have
I let you know
this time, because I didn't want to waste the time. So now you have this like a different kind of leg to stand on when you learn to communicate better in relationships.
And you can
like
stand up for yourself more. Like, that's really what it is like, you get to have your own back, because you're like, well, past me was looking out for future me, because she set up these, kind of parameters for me where it's like, these are non-negotiables for me if you're in a relationship with me. And so you'll kind of collect those from every and then there will be things that you're like, I loved this about this relationship, and I was so sad to see this part go, and I want to take this part of the relationship into every relationship that I have. Like, I want to maintain, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't have to, I can't think of specific things, but you're going to learn good things. You're going to learn bad things that you want and don't want in your relationships. And you just, like, the sooner you take off those rose-colored glasses and see this person, you can love someone and they can still be really fucked up and wrong, and you can start moving up, but you will be able to get over it so much faster, and you will be able to have like healthier relationships and do yourself justice, in your future relationships. So that's like, I think some of the and the other advice is like, genuinely no contact is for the best. Like, you should probably just be no contact until you are genuinely over it. And at that point, what you're going to realize is, I don't have any reason to talk to this person. Like, we weren't friends, and maybe you were, and then you'll figure that out. But like, Oh, is my life missing a lot now that I'm over this relationship and I don't have this person in my life? Am I missing out? Not really. Okay. I don't actually need to like have this extra baggage in my life. I don't need to. Even though I thought I did. I thought I would be lost without this person. Turns out I'm fine. So
Yeah.
Anyway, that's some advice. Let's do our rotations.
All
I'm
right.
on Dream, aren't I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting what we have here. All right. First thing I have on here is Kylie Jenner. Heard of her?
Nope.
I heard of her this week. So are you familiar with Kylie Jenner?
Who?
Who? Kylie Jenner apparently has like an alter ego. That's sort of how like I have Samantha and Abby from Broad City has Val. She has an alter ego called Kylie Jenner, and that's when Kylie is like all done up, like in full
Is that
glam.
self-proclaimed?
Yes, she was talking about it. Someone said, I don't remember, it was some video I saw, and someone was like, can you tell us about Kylie Jenner? And she goes, how do you know about Kylie? And then she's like, okay, yeah. So Kylie is like, well, my friends and I call when I'm like I'm Kylie right now. Like when I'm all like done up and like
a lot of people have that. Shawn Mendes,
really?
when he first started like getting on the scene and like being not just a MagCon boy, he was like signed and he was having to do photo shoots. I don't remember the name of his alter ego, but he was like, I kind of have to go into a character to like pose the way that they want me to because it just doesn't feel like me at all. So I have to be this character, this caricature of who I am in order to do it. It's interesting to think of someone like Kylie though.
Yes.
Like Shawn at the time felt like, well, you're like this kid from Canada who plays hockey.
Well, and I think,
but like Kylie feels like, it just feels like so, I guess we see more
so
of
part
Kylie
of
maybe.
who she is. Yeah. Well, and I think it's just like your public and your private self, you know, but also I even feel that way. The same. Like, yeah, like when you are? Yeah. But like when I am, you know, I don't have to explain it to you. It's like if I'm on Beverly Road, I'm acting way different than I am if I'm in my home, you know, like it's just.
Or if it's her birthday and she's got presents in front of her and it'll haunt her two younger sisters for the rest of their life because they don't have the same personality as her. Doesn't make them less grateful.
Hey, Fee. Lots of people would say you're very lucky for that. Okay.
Hey, doesn't make them less grateful.
Yeah, okay, so you guessed it. I'm really good at opening presents and making everyone in the room feel amazing and also bad.
Me and Lily looking at each other, we're like, this is going to be great on March 30th when Lily has to open her presents.
And March 30th in over a year.
Well, no, I mean, your birthday, I was saying
next would be yours.
April. Oh, you're right.
Not you
for a second.
Actually getting pissed off at me, trying to convince me that March 30th is after April 14th.
No, you were trying to convince me it's before. Because it is. In my head, for a second, March came after April.
Phoebe's like, no.
Guys, I know I've said it before, but Google a video of Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That is the nickname from my father. You guessed it, a daughter's dream.
Also a father's dream.
A daughter's dream.
If you were to watch it, you'd be like, wait, your dad.
Hey, it seems like it was our dad's dream because he gets so excited to bring it up. My dad, imagine being a daughter and being called into the den, and he's like, B, you gotta watch this. This is so you. And then it's this stoner surfer dude who rolls out of his RV on the way into class.
Smoke coming out of the car.
Billowing out of it. He walks into class. Pizza delivery. And the teacher goes, who is this for? And the guy says, Spicoli. And she goes, it's for me. And the teacher goes, what are you doing? And he says, eating some pizza, learning some history. Among other things.
And that's very Phoebe vibes. Actually, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I never would have done that though.
So funny though. But yeah, so Kylie Jenner.
Next?
Kylie, I just think it's really funny. But Kylie's thing also, she's very funny. Like she used to be big on like, I think it was like Vine maybe, I don't know. But she's really funny. And people don't always, I feel like, know that about her. And so I just like the Kylie moment was like funny. Okay. Cake pops from Starbucks. I'm sorry, they mastered it.
What's your go-to?
the birthday cake, of course.
Of course.
It is the perfect sweet treat when you need a little pick-me-up. And I'm just like, I'm ordering an iced Americano. I just need like a little something. I don't want like a fucking muffin or something like that. But like, I don't know. I need a little something. The cake pop is truly the perfect treat.
I want them
is
to have a pumpkin
perfect.
muffin with none of the seeds on the outside. I just want the pumpkin muffin with the cream cheese thing. That they
I
put
think
in the
they'd be
middle
wise
of
to
the
make
thing
a
on top.
pumpkin cake pop. Honestly,
Oh, I bet they will for the fall.
they haven't before.
I was talking to my friends about how excited I am for the fall drinks.
Oh,
and
I can't
came to
wait.
the realization that I actually don't order them. I just like knowing that they're on the menu. 'cause
No,
it
I know
feels
that
like
I have the
fall.
option. Well, I am, of course, like every fall I will have a pumpkin spice latte because you have to. Like I'll have one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like occasionally get them, but I mean, I'll have one with like the works. Like I'll get normal milk and whipped cream and I'll like have one that's like, okay. And then after that I'll be.
But you
more
have to get a
normal.
grande.
It has to be a grande because it's just not good as good. Otherwise it just isn't. Okay. And then last, and I don't remember if I already did this. Did I already do the snack wrap from Sheets? I
No.
don't think so. Okay. So you guys remember the snack wrap from McDonald's.
Ugh.
Why are
May
you
she
saying,
rest in
ugh?
peace.
Oh, I thought that was like a disgusted grunt. And I was like,
No.
what?
It's the single greatest thing
Why
to
the
ever grace a
fuck?
fast food menu.
Actually, why did they get rid of it? Because they have all the fucking, I guess they don't have tortillas.
And I
Is it
also
really
don't
that big of a deal?
understand- And I also don't understand why we don't do what we do with the McRib. Who even fucking likes the McRib? I've never
What do you
got it in
mean
my
do
life.
what we do with the McRib? Like bring it back?
Well, it comes back like once a year.
Oh,
and it's like
I've
a
never
big
had
deal.
a McRib.
Well, me either. I don't want one.
I don't want.
But
I
that's
want
what
a
I'm-
chicken. I want a crispy chicken snack wrap with ranch.
Yes.
That's what I want. So anyway, I've obviously been mourning the loss for a long, long time, as a lot of
like
us
a
have.
decade.
Yeah, like a decade. And so then I see on Sheets' website or whatever, because I was just like on DoorDash and we had to get some.
I thought you were going to say because I was just like on their website.
No. I was just like on DoorDash. I was just like looking and it had crispy chicken snack wraps. And I clicked on it and it like, I could choose all the ingredients. And so I chose crispy chicken tender, ranch, shredded cheese, lettuce, shredded lettuce, and a tortilla. Phoebe, it comes with 2 of them. It's like $7 and they are exactly the same. Exactly the same. They're so good. They're so good. Now, the problem is I want to order that snack wrap and have the McDonald's fries and Diet Coke with it. We can't all be so lucky. But there is a Sheets in Bridgeville. You know what else is in Bridgeville? McDonald's. So when you're home,
McDonald's.
we can do the whole thing. We can run the whole gamut. But what I
I'll
am
do that
saying,
on my way back into because that's my exit.
yes, that's your. Oh, yes, it'll be such a nice warm welcome. It really will be. But I'm telling you, guys, if you have a Sheets near you, it is an
That
exact
Sheetz-
replica.
That Sheets is famously where I secured my job at the IO Deli.
Really?
Yes, it was about 2 a.m. I was there
Right?
with a car
the
full of
normal
people.
time for a job interview.
I ran into Luke and I ran into Zach.
Oh,
But I was like, I really need a summer job. I was like, and Luke got me the job
wow.
basically in that moment.
So we love Sheets, is what we're saying. And if Sheets wanted to sponsor us, we would also be saying yes. And that's my dream
Yes.
rotation. Your turn.
My nightmare starts with Matt from Big Brother.
Wow. Yeah, the podcast. So are you familiar with the guy
And
that
the
he's
video.
gonna videos?
The specific video that I saw that got him on here this week was the video of him watching Mackenzie's AI arena, and he's like acting like they're married, and
Oh my
and she's on the
God.
show. He's like, get him, Kens. It's like, okay, you knew her for days.
For 4 days. It is wild. Well, because usually the person who gets out of the house like moves on. So last year, the guy that he's going to do this podcast with, that Matt, and this girl Riley had like a will they won't they kind of thing. Like I guess Matt and MJ. And then Riley went home like week 2 or something. I don't know. And Matt, like the rest of the season was just like, oh, I can't wait to see Riley. Like, and then she was at the
Did they
like,
date?
no. It was like
Oh my
she
God.
was just like we're like yeah, and he was
It's
really
also like
hot,
he's-
but just
He's
wasn't him.
calling her MJ, and in my head I'm like, was Mackenzie even going by MJ
I wonder that
at the
too.
time of you leaving the house? I don't think she was.
I don't know how we get MJ from Mackenzie, but we do.
I wonder if her
somehow.
middle name is Jay. I wonder if her last name is Jay.
I just think it's weird that he's still so hung up on it out of the house. Like there are probably girls throwing themselves at him, honestly.
I don't get it. I think maybe he thinks it's endearing.
Maybe. It's very
But
weird.
it
And
would be
also,
more endearing. It'd be more endearing if he had been on the show longer and they
Well,
actually
yeah.
had like realized something.
there's nothing, but
but
she
that
said
didn't
something about it the other night. And I'm like, did you guys have a conversation before he left? Because on live feeds the other night, she was like, yeah, well, I got some like, I don't need any more boys. Like you guys can have all the boys. Like I don't need any more. I've already got some waiting for me at home. And well, I probably
Her
got another
brother?
one. I probably got another one waiting for me now. And like she was obviously talking about Matt. And it was like,
She
okay.
is a tough watch on the feeds, and I am sure that America likes her.
America does like her.
But guys, just tune into the feeds for a second of your time.
Yeah. it's-
Anyway, next is Brooklyn.
Oh my
MJ,
God.
the real MJ.
The real dude. Brooklyn is a tough watch as well.
She's so mean.
She's so mean. Wait, what was
Like
she just
she's
saying?
mean. She
just
said
said
about
something.
Joseph. She was in the little storage kitchen with Mackenzie or Leah
Mm-hmm.
and was like, I just can't look at Joseph's ugly face anymore.
Yes.
Like I just like I hate him.
Yes.
Like the way she was talking about him, I was like, Joseph doesn't do
Anything.
much of anything.
Which I'm kind of over Joseph because I will say, Phoebe, he
And
does the
Cam.
breathing thing that you hate. And it was on live feeds. Like the
Mm-hmm.
like the repetitive, he does that. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd have to vote him out for that.
It would, and you know, I think that might get you likability points if you just, the way you discern who you're voting out, you're nice to everybody.
Who is annoying the freaking heck out of me today?
When you're sleeping though, it's not about, you're
Well,
so
he was
nice to
awake.
everybody. You're so nice to everybody during the day, but you just take note of the breathing. You just take note of who makes the noises that annoy you the most. And that's who you vote
You
for.
know, I think when you go on Big Brother, that will be your strategy because I think we both know that wouldn't last 1 second with me. Your turn for your last one.
Last is Lindsay from the OC. Oh my God, you guys.
Oh.
I'm on season 2, episode 15. This bitch is finally gone, I think. I hope. She is the most... First of all, she looks... all these people except for Misha Barton.
Barton, yeah.
Looks... And I will say Rachel Bilson does look. Like, they sell their
Yeah,
ages
they look
to
age
me.
appropriate.
Ryan and Seth. Seth is able to pull it off. Ryan pulls it off because he has to be that like bad boy. And
Right.
So he
They're
needs
like,
to
he
look
grew
like
up
he's
fast. Yeah.
he's lived a life.
yeah.
This girl, like, you know, and I don't want to sound mean, but you know when someone's neck like is a signifier of their age more than their
Yeah.
faces. She's got that kind of situation. So like when she's being emotional, it takes you out of it because you're like,
yeah.
wait, you're so much older. But her voice, there's something about her, and her character is so annoying.
Oh my God.
I can't stand her. She's so annoying, and when she and Ryan meet, they're like lab partners. But what happens when she enters? First of all, she pulls up into school in this beater car, so she's not like everybody else.
Of
And she has
course.
all these fucking like climate change stickers on the back of her car, which
Okay.
again is fine, but like she's clearly trying to make a
Aria.
statement.
It's
And
like,
so-
then why didn't you bike to school? You know?
Well, yes.
Why didn't you walk? You have 2 legs.
Mm.
Last time I checked.
And now we've said it.
And now we've said it.
But so Ryan
time I
like turns he's buying coffee, he turns around, dumps his coffee all over this girl, and then goes to help her pick stuff up, and she's like, no, it's fine, I got it. And when he stands up, he fucking like clocks her with his elbow.
Oh my God. Okay.
And then they realize that they're lab partners, and she just starts like making all these assumptions about how smart he is, and she like thinks he's rich and dumb and stupid
And I'm like,
and
hey
all this
girl,
stuff.
he just spilled his coffee all over you and then on the way up clocked you in the face and you think he's so smart?
No. She's like, you're just a dumb boy. How'd you even get into this
Oh.
class? Because sweet Ryan, he was an architect. He was like a contractor for the summer because to you've missed a lot. You've missed
Yeah.
so much.
I know.
But anyway, he's building houses, so he like knows how to do architecture now, I guess. And
that's
his
a classic
principal,
move, honestly.
his principal is like looking through his notes to see what he's gonna like test into or whatever, because he missed a couple weeks, and she sees his architectural work. Or like he was helping the contractors of the Cohen's house like figure out how to make something fit, and she's like, wait, you're really smart. So she puts him into all these classes because now he finally has a school system that like can help him be as smart as he is. And so like now he's sitting next to this fucking bitch who's telling him that he's dumb, and he believes that about himself already. He doesn't think he should be there. And then but they end up dating, of course.
Oh, well, I saw that coming from a mile away.
And she's so annoying. She plays the oboe.
I thought for a second okay. Yep.
And she's Caleb's daughter, adopted. Well, not adopted, becomes adopted, but then as soon as she's about to get adopted, she like runs away
Okay.
to Chicago because she's like, I can't do it. But she lets him throw an entire party
And when
and
you
takes
said
a DNA test.
Okay. No more details, please, God. No more. Every time I'm about to. Okay. And then she does this, and then she takes a DNA test. Yeah. And then she finds out he's not really her father. Yeah. And then she finds out she has superpowers. Yeah. She's so annoying.
She is. And that's that.
When you said Caleb, though, like you must be mindful of the world I'm currently existing in. I'm not like you, where I have all these doors all the time open for all my little shows. Okay.
My movie theater, remember? Everybody,
Your
my movie theater.
Your movie theater. Yeah, well, that was a good rotation. Lots of passion. We love the passion, Fee.
I would literally be arrested if I had to be in a room with them.
It sounds like it. I'm definitely getting that vibe. It's definitely reading. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Anything else to add, Phoebe, before we sign off?
I don't want anybody to forget that Brooklyn is a mom of 4.
Oh my God, right. When we didn't even mention that one time. Wait, and I need to also mention, this is why we're always like, we plan out the episodes and we never get there. We have to shout out our Aunt Liz. We have to do this. We have been like actually villains because we haven't done this yet. And I don't know that she's gotten this far in the podcast, but when she does, she will be happy to hear this because you guys, our Aunt Liz has started listening to the podcast, which is so funny and so fun. And apparently she listens like on her morning runs and she's like laughing at, for which, first of all, I'm like, Liz, girl,
we're famously so motivating.
You're listening to a podcast while you're running. She's stronger than us, but we knew that. We actually definitely knew that. But apparently she's LOLing while she's running, which I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to. If not the running part, the LOLing part is what I definitely relate to. Anthony, by the way, his new thing is he says he's training for a marathon.
Right.
Like,
well,
okay.
I just want everybody to know that I was literally downbound crying at the gym the other day listening to Lost Coach, because did you listen to the episode where Matt starts to cry?
Dude, I started and then I didn't finish it, and then I was listening to this week's where he talks about it and I was like, I missed something. I need to go back.
No, it was like, I started crying listening to it. I was like, okay, I can't listen to this in here.
What was he talking about?
Because there's something about Matt that just
I know,
really just like tugs at my heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that it's kind of like what Pat has.
Yes.
But I think Pat is just like, he's a little bit more cynical.
Yeah, he is not as like sweet as sugar as Matt.
So hearing Matt like opening up about any sort of struggle or uncertainty that he's feeling towards his life, and like he doesn't feel like he's found his footing.
Is the one where he's talking about being bi-coastal and how like he doesn't like it?
Yeah, that, and like a bunch of he just like starts going like he's like he clearly just like needed to talk about it. This past week he talked about how he talked about it in therapy and feels a lot better now. But
feels
like
a lot better.
But I went straight to the comments for that episode because I was like, I know everybody's being nice, and everybody was like, as a 30-something-year-old, like hearing you talk about this was just like,
sometimes it's nice to know. I mean, like, not that anyone wants him to be experiencing that or wants anyone to be experiencing it, but it's nice to know you're not alone, because a lot of people feel this and they don't talk about it because no one wants to admit they're not doing as well as they want to be doing, you know?
Yeah. And
especially if you seem like you're doing really well.
Exactly.
Like
I think
Matt
that's
Rogers.
Yes. I think that's exactly why it is so like poignant coming from him. It's so like,
I also just, I think it's nice. Like I like that he felt comfortable enough to like take the space to talk about that too, because I don't know, it's not the same, but I feel like that a lot, like, or I feel the opposite of that a lot. I feel so embarrassed about pulling back the curtain sometimes and talking about like mental health or things that are tough. Like, I just feel like that's not why people listen to this podcast. And, you know, it just feels very weird to do because I'm just talking to you. But then when you realize people are going to hear it, it's like, I feel stupid now and whatever. And I just think that, like, sometimes we need those moments though, because this is where we like can talk about that stuff. And I appreciate you guys being such a supportive audience. Like, I know that Phoebe and I both have the space to do that. And I'm so glad that the Lost Coach audience is the same for Matt, because like sometimes it's just like, yes. Sometimes it just comes out and it's like, maybe and there is someone that could benefit from this and we should leave it in, and we don't need to be so embarrassed about being human.
You can tell in that conversation that it was like Matt just needed to get all of that out. And I do think, and that's how I know their friendship is so strong, because if their friendship weren't strong and you have someone like Bowen who is doing more mainstream things, and then you have Matt who's successful in his own way, it's like, I feel kind of,
I feel like I don't want to say this because I don't want you to think that I am not doing well, right?
And like, because you're doing all of this.
They have to have such genuine love for each other. Like, there can't be that competitive friendship. It has to be such genuine
wins
love.
Are my wins.
And I think that's why it works with sisters, is because like I don't ever feel like I'm really competing. Like, I don't think we feel like we're competing with each other. Do you?
All the time.
No, you don't.
Life's a competition.
Well, obviously I know that, but I don't feel
and
like
the world's a stage.
Like, you getting a win does not feel like it was taken away from me in any way, you know, like, and I hope like, so that's just, I think it's hard with friends who are in the same place, that the love has to be so like innate and like in your bones and genuine, because if it isn't, then it's like hard to be in that kind of a friendship. But, I don't know. I love them so much. And Matt said something on the episode this week. He was like, I had to do like my like ancillary like editing and listen. And like I do that too, like where he had to go listen back to the episode once it was already out to make sure there wasn't anything he needed to like ask to be taken out, like after it was already out. And Bowen was like, oh, and I was like, I feel like that all the time. And I'll text Phoebe and be like, is it too late to like take this part out? And Phoebe's like, I think it's fine. And I do trust that if Phoebe didn't, she would take it out. Like, I trust that if she was like, this is annoying or something, or it doesn't have a place here, she would. But like, it's real. So I'm glad that, like, I don't know. I hate that he's feeling like that, but I'm glad that he was able to talk about it. And it is nice for people to hear sometimes.
It's real. It's real and raw.
Go listen to Last Culture Recess if you don't.
Guys, at the beginning of this episode, I was like, this episode's going by so slow. It's taking us forever to fill an hour. And then now we've been speaking for over 2 hours. So
that's just kind of our thing. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We love you, love you, love you. On Thursday, you will get our recap of season 5, episode 17 or 16. Yeah. 17 of Pretty Little Liars. And then on Friday, you get another podcast. So make sure you're tuning into that Love Island reunion. We will be discussing that in depth on Friday's Patreon episode. So don't miss that. And if you haven't listened to last week's episode, you have our walkthrough of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Don't Worry, Darling. And it ends with us cast drama, which people are loving. Phoebe, great job. She walks us through all of it. And then we also recapped season 5, episode 16 of Pretty Little Liars and had another podcast. So there's literally so much. Checked.
It was 15 last week, 16.
So it's 16. Okay, yeah. So there's so much content for you to go binge and consume. So go check it out. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And we will see ya on Thursday. I know, but I feel like I can still say see you next week. Because like this segment, I'll see you next week.
How about we'll see ya?
How about I'm walking here? How about I'm walking here? And splat.
And splat.
And snap.
And snap.